Yo, what's going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new Locals feature match. Here we are in round 3, where we have Marincess on the right, piloted by yours truly, versus Phantom Knight on the left, piloted by, I believe his name was Caleb. First time on the feature match. Yeah, so was really excited for this one, just because I think it's the first time that Marincess has been on the feature, post new support. And it's always cool to have, you know, people on the feature for the first time as well. Very, very exciting stuff. So I do lose die roll here, which has been unfortunate, but, you know, with the amount of going second cards that the deck list can typically play, wasn't too worried, but I don't think I actually opened so many going second cards. In fact, I don't think I opened any going second cards. I just opened up a whole bunch of extenders, and this is the Frog Engine. I'm also still playing Silent Sea Nettle in this build, I see. I've been experimenting with a ton of different builds, playing the Adventurer build, playing the Shark build, playing Pure, playing Frogs, and I'm still not sure which one I like the most at this point, because each build has its own, like, you know, pros and cons, right? So we're still testing things out, and I will be doing more profiles and test hand videos and combo videos, etc., with each of those different builds at some point in the future. Just when I get the time. Also been, you know, practicing with like Earth Machine and stuff and other decks, so be on the lookout for those types of things. So we're gonna see my opponent, you know, do classic. Well, I don't want to say classic Phantom Knight combos, because I haven't really played against Phantom Knight in a very long time. So it was really interesting to see my opponent go for the Hulk Fibrax play to bring out the Ghost Ogre. Yeah, because Hulk says your opponent cannot, or its activated effects are negated for the rest of the turn, I believe. That specific card. So Ghost Ogre, if he doesn't get rid of it right, will be an interruption on my turn, which is something, again, I wasn't like super prepared for. Was hoping he wouldn't go for Appaloosa, because Appaloosa is very scary to deal with. Playing a deck like Marincess that is primarily very heavy on the monster effects, and, you know, trying to extend with those. You know, pretty much everything, you know, besides, like, you know, you have Swap Frog, which is a special summon that doesn't activate, so Appaloosa can't really have a say in that. Same thing with Seahorse, which is nice too. So the deck doesn't completely fold to Appaloosa, which is nice, but, you know, it definitely doesn't make things any easier, especially when you're worrying about having to deal with things like, you know, maybe a Rusty Pop, a Fog Blade, and a Ghost Ogre on top of that. So we're going to see him go ahead and activate the boots in the graveyard to go ahead and search the Fog Blade. Already has another Fog Blade engrave set up as well. And yeah, it's Appaloosa for 3, plus Ghost Ogre, plus a known Fog Blade. And I believe the last card in his hand is a DD Crow. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interruptions. I believe 4 interruptions if you're only counting Appaloosa as 1 interruption in of itself. So I start by normal summoning the Blue Tang. I don't activate its effect to play into the Appaloosa, although I probably could have done that just to bait out an interruption. Yeah, I think going forward I probably should have done that, because I didn't really necessarily need the send effect to go through. But we are going to chain block the Sea Angel with the Blue Tang. My opponent tries to Ghost Ogre, but I know, remind him, right? Ghost Ogre can be chain blocked, since the only the last thing that happened wasn't you know, a face-up monster on the field activating its effects. And we do reveal very well there off of the Blue Tang. We do take the Spring Girl, I believe, which is a fantastic extender. We're also going to search out the new copy of Marincess Dive, which is basically, you know, Monster Reborn or Drytron Nova if the Marincess Battle Ocean is in play. And I believe you guys want to see my deck list. I've uploaded a deck profile recently of just kind of like the Swap Frog version, at least what I think is like the better, like the best version of that. Or at least how I would play it. I mean, honestly, looking back, there's some things I would change about the deck. So I may update it again. So I go ahead and start with the, or well, follow up here with the Sea Nettle. My opponent lets this go through. Again, where I'm wishing I probably would have used the effect of Blue Tang to send. Because if he would have negated that, like assuming, let's say, assuming he does, he lets the Sea Nettle go through, and then I can go for a Link 2 here for, you know, the Water Charmer, and then I can go Battle Phase to attempt to swing over the Appaloosa, which he'll either have the Fog Blade or just let it go through. But I know he has Hulk Fibrax engraved, so I am going to go for the Water Charmer play to attempt to take that Hulk Fibrax and special summon it to my side of the field to a zone that it points to. He does have the Ghost Ogre for that, so that will destroy area, that will trigger area effect, so that is 2 Appaloosa interruptions, or no, I believe that's only 1 Appaloosa interruption burn so far. So we're going to go for Dive. He does DD Crow the target, so You know, that's already, I think, 3 interruptions played through at this point since he did Ghost Ogre. And I have Swap Frog now here, so we're going to go ahead and summon Swap Frog by discarding and then activating the on-field effect to go ahead and send a level 2 or lower Aqua. And I believe my opponent does Appaloosa negate here, which makes sense. So 2 Appaloosa negates have been burned. So if I would have summoned the Swap Frog in attack, I could have forced, you know, the Fog Blade on the Swap Frog and try to go battle phase. But, like, you know, things are still looking like an uphill battle here. Opening that wave is certainly not helping me. That's why I think going down to 1 wave. I think I was playing 2 wave at this point, but I've seen like a lot of builds play 1, which makes a lot of sense just because, like, you know, it's not a card you really ever want to draw going first or second. Second doesn't help you play through boards. Going first, I mean, seeing it going first occasionally in some hands is nice, but never really in multiples. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Sign Up Mining here, discarding the wave in hand, which really, again, isn't helping me out a whole lot. And we're going to go ahead and search out another name, or perhaps something that's just going to be like discard fodder. So we go ahead and add the Mandarin, which is a card that I think I've cut in most different iterations of this deck. But I really like the card a lot. It's just a really clutch mill sometimes. It's like one of the few extenders that does something on its own in the graveyard. So my opponent does negate swap, and I believe that's the last Appaloosa negate. So here I'm basically free to play. Which, I mean, you do have to kind of negate the Swap Frog sometimes, right? Else just gives you access to Totally Awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I do like Swap Frog, the Swap Frog engine in the deck currently, because it just, like, forces hand traps, you know, where they'd be more impactful in other spots, like Sea Angel or Dive, right? So, like, Swap Frog is just really strong. And actually, go ahead and mill 1 here. So I end up milling Battle Ocean, which normally seems like a bad thing, but not necessarily in this case. Just because, like, now I can get it back in the grave for free. You know, my Sea Angel's search has already been exhausted, so I can get it back if I'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Anemone here, targeting the Swap Frog to try to revive it. And at this point, I really don't have much of a play, so we're going to go ahead and just scoop it up there and go into game 2. Maybe there's something I could have done to, like, play through that a little bit better. Maybe just starting with frogs would have been more valuable and, like, save the normal summon for later. But either way, here in game 2, I am going to go first, starting with just Seahorse into Slug, and then Seahorse into Sea Angel. And I like this a lot because this is going to be on the 4th summon. And I do want to try to play around Nibiru a great deal, if I can help it. Because, like, this deck sometimes does get hurt greatly by Nibiru, which my opponent actually does have in hand right now. So I guess it was good that I was kind of on that thought process. And I also do have 2 copies of Ash and a Judgment and Dive in hand. So I'm going to go for the Crystal Heart, which currently, you know, that is my 5th summon. It is also unaffected by monster effects while in the EMZ. So you can use this as a way to, like, if you do have to take a Nibiru, that you still have a body on field. I don't use Battle Ocean there. I should have definitely used the Battle Ocean. That was definitely a mistake on my part. Yeah, because that way if he does Nibiru me now, like, I still keep the Crystal Heart on field, which is going to be boosted by, I think, 1400, which isn't, like, like, it's not great, but it's not terrible, right? It's giving me something at least. So we're going to use the Mandarin Engrave there to go ahead and target the Crystal Heart and summon it to the board. Getting Nibiru at this point would also hurt quite a bit because I would just lose the Tang and the Mandarin, and just get the token, which I guess then could let me, like, link into an unaffected Iria the Water Charmer, I guess, which is kind of cool. But we're going to link into Anemone now, and at this point I want to say, like, hitting me with Nibiru is, it's, like, almost a little too late, just because, like, I've already gotten, you know, an add back secured if he hit the Anemone goes. I've already got my wave in hand, so at this point, now it's, like, already definitely too late. But my opponent might not be super familiar with this deck because I think he said it was his first time playing against this deck, so, you know, totally understandable. You know, but we're going to go ahead and go for the Link 4, Marincess Aqua Argonauts. We're going to activate Marincess Battle Ocean as Chainlink 1, Marincess Coral Anemone as Chainlink 2, and we're going to go ahead and I think I target the Dive to add back, or Blue Tang to add back, which I think, looking back, makes more sense. Then we're going to go ahead and equip 3, giving the Aqua Argonaut 600 for each equip and 200 for just being a Marincess monster, so that's 6, 12, 18, plus 200 is 2,000, so it's a 4,300 Aqua Argonaut. We're going to set a Judgment, and we're going to pass on that with the follow-up that we have. We have Blue Tang in hand for follow-up, we have Judgment, we have Double Ash, and I see my opponent normal summon the tour guide here. He did reveal the Kagamucha Knight a little too fast, You know, it's something for future reference. Like, you always want to make sure the summon of the card itself is fine before you go ahead and, you know, activate Kagamucha Knight, because the Judgment will make it so the Kagamucha Knight doesn't even have a window to activate. And I believe he has talents in hand as well, plus Nibiru, I think another Kagamucha Knight. So it didn't open up super well there, which is unfortunate. Always hate to see when the opponent opens up unfavorably. I mean, he did open up pretty well, right? I guess seeing Tour Guide Kagamucha Knight is very strong. But also, you know, if it's met with Solemn Judgment, right, it is what it is. So we're going to normal summon the Blue Tang here. To go ahead and send Pascalis, and Pascalis is just going to be in the graveyard for follow-up to go ahead and grab back things like Dive later on, or Waves even. And at this point, I'm just trying to play it simple. I don't want to extend into more hand traps, right? I just want to, like, play it simple, put up something that's going to make it harder for him to play next turn. Try to lock down the field. And I'm not going to be able to OTK without playing into a lot of hand traps right now. So we're just going to go into the Bahamut Shark and swing in for 43 and 26. Like, I probably could have gone... There probably was an access code line there, if I'm being totally honest. But I wasn't playing access code and transcode in this build. And I believe 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have also played in Nibiru too. So I'm glad I didn't do that. My opponent does have Dark Ruler, which is going to turn off the Toad and the Bahamut, but it's not going to turn off the Aqua Argonaut because it is unaffected by my opponent's card effects this turn. Oh, well, not this turn, just while Battle Ocean is up, since it was Link Summon using Crystal Heart. He does have Kagamucha Knight into Kagamucha Knight, which will certainly get him there. He's going to go ahead and activate Cherubini effect, sending for cost here. Going to go find the Graph to go ahead and send that. And I believe I do Ash the Graph to put him on having more extenders. My opponent does not have any currently. He does have talents, Crow and Nibiru, so he's going to go ahead and activate Triple Tactics talent. I was expecting him to possibly go ahead and draw here to try to play in, you know, find more pieces to keep going. But, I mean, to be honest, he'd have to find, like, Tracker. Like, I don't even know what 2 extenders he'd really grab at this point. Just off the top of my head right now, there's probably some cards he could grab. But he's going to go ahead and opt to take the Bahamut Shark. And I think possibly was looking to maybe go to see if there was like a Dark Charmer play, but I do not have any Darks in grave. But I think the play he does make is still go for Dark here, and he's going to go ahead and opt to crash the Dark Charmer into the Totally Awesome, and he'll take a little bit of damage. I think it's something like 350 damage or something. But he is going to go ahead and search follow-up here, which I guess is pretty important. I mean, there is a world where I possibly play into Nibiru and Crow on the next turn, but, you know, with my opponent only being at 750, there's no point into, you know, trying to extend anything. Just go right to battle phase and try to end the game right then and there. So we're going to go into a game 3. Also, quick shout out to Imperium Duelist if you guys are interested in the playmat that I'm using there on the right, or the sleeves. On my extra deck, the Demon Slayer sleeves. The Nezuko sleeves, I believe, is the name of the character. Check it out at Imperium Duelist. Link below. Don't forget to use my discount code WinterKill. Send off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please don't forget to use my affiliate link at the link below. If you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of revenue from your purchase will go back in the channel and does help out a ton. So we're going to see my opponent here start off very, very strong. You know, Kagamucha Knight, Torn Scales, the Psychic Wielder. He is going to go ahead and, you know, go for Cherubini as expected and dumping the Graph. I do have Ash as my only form of interruption. Did not see any other hand traps, which I do play several other hand traps in the deck. Just did not get a chance to draw anything other than Ash, I guess. I drew double Ash here again. I was debating on ashing the Graph, but I knew he could at least have a Halka-Fibrax play there. And he also had, like, Sword engraved to bring back the Torn Scale, so like he had ways to play through it, and I figured, you know, it might just be more impactful to hold the Ash for the Rusty, because that gets him another extender engrave and an interruption on board. So I decided to hold it for that, and I think that looking back, that was probably correct. My opponent is going to go for Hulk. Hulk's going to summon out Ghost Ogre, and then we're going to see him activate the Cloak effect engraved. Go ahead and grab Boots, and then the Torn Scale effect will activate here to go ahead and summon out itself. And then he's going to go ahead and special summon Boots. So right now, this is also where I was wishing I maybe had Nibiru, because Appaloosa is not in play yet. He's obviously would still have a way to get to Fogblade, in grave, but like an Appaloosa there would be absolutely huge. He is going to go ahead and go for the Break Sword. That's going to trigger Rusty effect to summon back. We'll destroy a card, so destroy the Break Sword effect, summon back the Torn Scales and the Boots. They're both currently at level 4 because of the Break Sword effect, and he is also currently locked in the dark. So at this point, I know that I'm basically safe from any potential Appaloosas at this point. Let's go ahead and link off the Ghost Ogre and the Boots for IP Masquerena, so that'll act as an interruption. Next turn, you can kind of set up, like, you know, the IP with the Break Sword pop. You know, that can turn into Unicorn as well. So he's already got a few really solid interruptions set up here. Also searching the Shade Brigadine as well. And he has the Tekatomborg in hand, so he is playing the Terratop package, which I can respect, you know, as a Speedroid player. So we're going to go ahead and see him flip up the Shade Brigadine here, you know, using it on my turn since he obviously couldn't use it on his turn, you know, because he did have a trap engrave. So some of you guys can probably see what he is trying to set up right here, which is a synchro play with the Hulk, which is really cool because I really haven't seen Phantom Knights in a while, and I didn't know they were utilizing Hulk Fibrax like this, which is really cool to see. We're going to see him in response here to the Pascalus actually chain the Hulk, and you know, I had to, you know, explain, because it is a tricky thing, right? You know, Yu-Gi-Oh can be pretty complicated, that the draw effect of Formula Synchron will miss timing there because it is a one effect, but he still is able to chain the quick effect of Synchro in response to the Blue Tang. So Formula will Synchro into the Baron, and then Blue Tang will resolve, dubbing Spring Girl. So right now I have to worry about a Baron, I have to worry about a pop with Rusty, and also have to worry about a Nightmare Unicorn play. So there's a lot on the table. So I am going to go ahead and link one into the Sea Angel, Chainlink 1 Sea Angel, Chainlink 2 Blue Tang. And I also have Battle Ocean in hand. I think that might have been my draw for turn. We're going to go ahead and reveal 3, 2 Nibiru, and a Swap Frog. Not exactly what I was looking to find there. Finding a Seahorse or like a Sleepy Maiden would have been really good. So we're going to go ahead and activate Battle Ocean. So I have a way to like play around a decent amount here, because I do have, you know, Dive and Battle Ocean, but my opponent is smart. He's going to go ahead and activate the Sword Engraved, go ahead and bring out the Rusty, and then activate Rusty effect to destroy the Battle Ocean. So now I kind of got to rethink things here. I do have Signet Mining, and I'm trying to force out Baron here by whatever means possible. See if he'll take the bait on the Signet Mining, because that will let me get to another good extender here, like Seahorse or, again, a Sleepy Maiden. So he does negate that with Baron. So I'm like, okay, so the only thing I have to really worry about now at this point is a Nightmare Unicorn play. And I don't really have a lot in rotation right now. I was like, you know what, I'll just go for a Splash Mage route. And if this gets stopped, I can dive back Spring Girl for Slug and then make like an Anemone play there, and try to do something with that. So my opponent is going to go for the Unicorn on the summon of the Splash Mage. Possibly, you know, maybe seeing there's a line there with that to like climb into a bigger Link monster. But I do have to go dive here after he puts it back to bring back Spring Girl, and then we're going to activate... I don't think I use the Graveyard effect of Spring Girl here. I don't think there's really a reason to. Although I don't know if I'd necessarily be able to mill more than one. So we're going to go ahead and activate Spring Girl and banishing the Blue Tang. And then, you know, since I didn't use Splash Mage, because he just spun it back on summon, I still technically have a Splash Mage line available. So we're going to go ahead and link 2 into Splash Mage. And then we're going to go ahead and activate Splash Mage effect to revive the Spring Girl, and then link off the Spring Girl and the Splash Mage into Anemone. And then Anemone is going to go ahead and... Well, I actually use the Spring Girl there, and I mill 1, and I mill a Mandarin, which is like a godsend at this point. That's like such a strong mill here. Changes what I'm going to bring back to off of the Anemone. I bring back Sea Angel, and then Anemone effect, or Mandarin effect target the Sea Angel, go for Crystal Heart here. And now I can get to an unaffected board, which is really, really strong. I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to have a super huge Bubble Reef, but it will be enough because it can get itself up to 3,200 or 3,400 during my opponent's standby phase by, you know, banishing and drawing. So we are going to go for the Bubble Reef. We get the Battle Ocean back off the Coral Anemone, and then we can go Battle Phase. Only clear over 1. I figured I have to get rid of the Rusty because that's just going to generate him free cards next turn. Arguably, the Baron could too in the standby phase. My opponent is going to draw a Fog Blade for turn. Standby phase, we're going to activate Bubble Reef effect, banishing the Blue Slug to go ahead and draw. and then effect to gain 600. So gaining 800 total, putting up to 32, and then another 200 to 34. So I think my opponent did say after the match that he should have probably tagged Baron out here in something in the grave to keep playing. But you know, it is what it is. People make mistakes, right? Always something to... it's good to be able to recognize those things, though, because makes you less likely to make those same mistakes again in the future. More likely to see those potential lines, right? So my opponent is going to go for access code. He will activate the effect targeting Unicorn, and then access code effect to banish Unicorn to destroy the Battle Ocean. A new chain, Reef will gain another 600, putting up to 3,800. So we'll attack over for 15 over the Bubble Reef. So luckily I'm not getting OTK'd here at least. And I'm not necessarily sure what I drew off of my Bubble Reef, but we're going to get another draw. I think I drew Blue Tang, and then I draw a Cosmic Cyclone for turn, which is pretty huge. Pay 1,000 to go ahead and clear the set, which ends up being a Fog Blade, which is a pretty good thing to be able to clear at this point. But now, you know, I'm kind of scrambling, right? I gotta try to do something to this access code off of just this Blue Tang. Gotta see what we can actually make happen here. So we're gonna normal the Blue Tang, dump the Sleepy Maiden to the grave, and then link for the Blue Slug, chain link 1 Slug targeting Spring Girl, chain link 2 Blue Tang, revealing 3, reveal another Spring Girl. It's just Spring Girls galore. And then we're gonna add the Spring Girl back. And then shuffle, hoping I can like mill a Swap Frog at this point off Spring Girl. Like that's one of the best, like, I think synergies between the two engines is like the one engine does have the potential to get, you know, bridge access to the other. It's just unfortunate that the Swap Frog engine can never really directly get you to the Marincess engine. So we're gonna go ahead and link here for Anemone, and then we're gonna mill 1. We mill a DD Crow, so it's whatever. We have Pasquilla set up in grave though, so they can get back dive. Which can help extend here. Then we're going to go ahead and activate Anemone, target the Crystal Heart, and then activate Dive to go ahead and reborn a non-link Marincess from the grave. So we're going to go ahead and summon out Spring Girl, and then we're going to link off the Anemone and the Spring Girl, I think, into Coral Triangle here. Or I might go for Marbled Rock, because I need to get to Wave at this point, right? Because there's no way I'm getting over this access code without having access to Wave. Because even if I do get to, you know, a Bubble Reef with 3 equips, it's at 4,600, which is just shy of being able to get over the access code. So we do have to go for the Coral Triangle. Anemone's going to add 1 back. We're going to discard the Spring Girl that we added back to go ahead and search a Wave. And at this point, I've got to go ahead and link here into Aqua Argonaut. Or I go for Marbled Rock here, actually. And I think I see why, because I want to get Battle Ocean in play. And then I can use the Sleepy Maiden engraved to go ahead and equip it with something. So that's going to give it just enough attack here. And also, I'm able to recycle resources too. So we'll go Battle Phase, attack over it. It only had 2,300, but the Marbled Rock, I think, is gaining 800, so at 33. So we're able to get over for a little bit of damage. And my opponent is going to draw Ash for turn, which is unfortunate, and he's going to go ahead and set it and pass. I do have the Silent Sea Nettle in hand, so I'll normal the Spring Girl, special summon the Sea Nettle, add back the Wave first off the Marbled Rock, go for Bahamut Shark, go for Totally Awesome, and just trying to slowly kind of secure the game here. Do have Coral Triangle set up in grave, but there's no real way to use it currently. Do have Sea Nettle in grave for Recursion, which is always really strong. My opponent will take 33, dropping him down to 28. 1 turn clock here. Draws the boots, and it was a valiant effort. Was a really good match. Shout out to my opponent. Was a really good match, and enjoyed playing against him. Looking forward to a rematch in the future. But if you guys want to see more of my content, check out the videos on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine level channel members, who are Tweeter0226, Pony Start, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, and HZH Cyber. Thank you guys so much as always for showing me kind and generous support of this channel.